Hi, everyone. So today I wanted to touch on a framework that I've found to be super helpful in my work as a UX researcher. So in our role, it's usually important to help our teams, PMs, designers, and others figure out what's important, what's not important, like how do we prioritize these things. So I've found the important satisfaction matrix to be super helpful with that. And what it does is essentially it identifies that the things that your users are saying are super important, but they're not satisfied with current alternatives. Those fall under opportunities. And then there's some things that are very important to them, but they're really happy with what's currently offered. And so that's in the competitive market. And so chances are you don't want to play in that space because it's crowded. And then there are things that are of low importance. They might be very satisfied or not, but those are not worth going after. And so if you're able to kind of prioritize things in this way, it's super helpful for teams. So I'll just show you a quick example of how I do that. So I tend to include in this survey a question about listing the specific things that people have previously told us are important to them, and I ask people to rate how important those things are to them personally or to their business or organization, whatever it is. So I change the wording depending on, what I'm doing. And sometimes I include in parentheses an emphasis on, don't think about how satisfied you are with any of these things. Just tell me what's important. Because sometimes people start to think about how happy they are, or how satisfied or unsatisfied they are. But here you just want to know, is this important or not? And I'd have like a 3-point rating scale here, where one is not at all important, two is moderately important, and three is very important. Depending on my list, so because typically the list is generated from a qualitative research project where I've interviewed some customers and I've figured out, okay, this is the full list of things. And sometimes that list can be as long as 30 things or even 40 things. And that's why my rating scale is not like a 5-point scale or a 7-point scale. 5-point scales are usually much better than, say, a 3-point scale. But if I'm asking people to rate lots and lots of things, I try to minimize the burden on them. Anyway, let me go on. And so if you're using Qualtrics, there's a carry forward functionality that allows you to carry forward the statements from the previous question. And so I have a follow-up question saying, for the ones you selected as being important, how satisfied are you with the tools or solutions you're currently using to meet those goals? And again, I'd have a 3-point scale going from very dissatisfied all the way to very satisfied. And I essentially carry forward only the statements that people rated moderately important or very important. And you can just do that with a click of a button in Qualtrics, because it doesn't make sense to carry forward things that people say, this is not important to me. You wouldn't then ask them, how satisfied are you with it? You're just burdening them for no reason. So essentially, you carry forward the ones that they've said are at least moderately important. Okay, so after that, I have data then that I can uh, figure out how to analyze and weight things. So I took just some random things from the internet. So typically these, of course, would be product specific things, but I think I pulled this from like a public policy survey that was looking at what the county should focus on for the year or something like that. But it will demonstrate my point. When your data comes back, you will have a percentage of respondents that say something is very important to them, okay, for each of those items that you included in this survey. And so I have that data, and I also have the percentage of people that said they're very satisfied with those things. And so I create another column that's these percentages out of 100, because I want to change them into fractional values. And so this is just simply this B2 over 100, and I drag that down. And then also for very satisfied, I take this percentage here and divide it by 100, and then I just, drag that down. And then I get an importance satisfaction rating. And I hope I haven't been mixing importance and impact. You know what I mean. This is an important satisfaction matrix. Okay, so then the formula to get that rating is simply this value, the very important fraction here, times 1 minus this. And that gives me a rating of some sort. And when I drag that formula down, it just populates the other cells. And of course, I already sorted this in order of highest rating to lowest rating. But essentially, it's balancing, it's weighing importance and satisfaction, such that things that are very important and people are not very happy with end up having a much higher rating than things that are not super important and people are kind of happy with end up having a low satisfaction rating. But now suddenly I have an ordered list of priorities where this is the most important thing and this is the least important thing to focus on. And I can then decide on some thresholds, like if I wanted to complete this matrix that I was talking about, for opportunity and what can be considered competitive market and what can be considered not worth going after. Now that is semi-subjective. There is no like scientific threshold values or something like that, but I can clearly see that there are things here that 60% or more of the respondents say that's super important, and satisfaction was kind of low. But I'm looking at importance and I'm just going to say those are high opportunity areas. And then I'll just categorize medium opportunity areas as things that are in the 50s, 50% thereabouts, and people are kind of happy with them, at least happier than they were in the high opportunity areas. And I'll just call those medium opportunities. And then I'll call the ones where indeed like so many people are satisfied, even though a decent percentage are considering it important. And I'll call that the competitive market, because it seems there's quite a bit of people, people that consider this competitive, and then the rest are not worth going after. Now, now after I do that, I simply recreate that matrix and plop in the different things in the quadrants that they fall into. Now, when I present this to stakeholders, I like to actually show them the back end. So I show them this Excel file so that there's some transparency in how I ended up putting things in different quadrants. And it's based on this importance, satisfaction rating that's balancing importance and satisfaction. And I tell them how I decided on the thresholds of what to call an opportunity versus not. And I've had instances where people have said, "Oh, hey, you know what? If 50% or more of our customers are asking for this thing, we want to call those opportunities. We don't want to call them medium. Let's call them opportunities." And that's we can change that, because again, these thresholds are subjective. But I like to tell the teams, look, this is about prioritization. So it's better to have higher thresholds than lower ones. So when we call something an opportunity, indeed, people are really saying those things are important. And like there's a large percentage of people that are not happy with what's currently out there. But this can be kind of a discussion with your teams. Well, I hope that's helpful to you as you try to help your teams to make, better products. All right. Good luck.